when you put forward a couple of points, Subhash Chandra Bose, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, I believe the best person who can contradict your statement is none other than sir. Please, it's over to you.
The best person would be Chandrachur Ghose, because everything that he said about Netaji calling, Gandhiji, father of nation. There's a word called context. You have to understand context. There's another word called Jumla. And Jumla, I give you a very contemporary example. We all know the relationship between Narendra Modi and Diggi Raja, how they treat each other. But when Diggi Raja's son got married, so obviously Modi ji went there and had himself photographed. I bump into people who are from the other side, but I show them all the courtesies. Just offering courtesies does not mean much. Number two, it also depends a lot on Gandhiji was older than Subhash Bose's father, so Netaji obviously had to offer that kind of respect, but Gandhiji was very, very, very critical. It was Subhash Bose who wrote that if India were to follow Gandhiji's path, we would land in a ditch, which exactly happened in 62. Now, Gandhian myth, the way it has been promoted, now often we give examples of foreigners because, that has a very good impact on Indians, especially a white man, Americans are talking so many things about Gandhiji. The whole idea is, what do you do? Do you follow it or not? I mean, you have to bring two parameters in the picture. One is national security. What is good for my country, I'll follow that. And number two is of course, hypocrisy. There is so much of hypocrisy in the people who claim to follow Gandhiji. Let me pick on with our own Prime Minister right now. You organized this G20 and took all the world leaders who are sitting on stockpiles of weapons and talked about leading the world through peace and all that. Baba, you follow it now. Why preach? When Indians go all over the world and preach about Gandhian path should be followed, which has been done over and again, you do it yourself. I'll tell you what are the Gandhiji's main principles. There are three principles Gandhiji stood for. A, non-violence, ahimsa. Main, of course, strand of it, Gandhiji did not want Indian armed forces to exist. Chelas of Gandhiji wanted army to be disbanded. Okay. So if you are, that's why you will not find a single Gandhi Bhakt sitting in the army. They never joined the army. All of them became the defense ministers. Because there you have a lot of things to make.
Makes sense.
They did not join, nobody joins armed forces. When it comes to wars and problems, you will go after these soldiers. And when the soldiers have won the Kargil war, you say you need peace and for the mankind. And Baba, peace for mankind is fine, but where were you when the fight was going on? Second thing, the hypocrisy has to be called. I mean, it is into multiple. Anyhow, there were three reasons. Gandhiji, of course, non-violence. Second is truth. Gandhiji stood for truth all the time. But we have official secrets act of 1923 in the place. I utter one state secret, I'll be jailed tomorrow. So this country does not follow Gandhiji either in non-violence. We have got, in the name of God, second, third largest army in the world. So if you follow Mahatma Gandhiji, please disband the army which Gandhiji wanted. Now, I can give examples later on. Yeah. Speak the truth. Remove the official secrets act. Have all the cabinet meetings, everything publicly aired on television. We have nothing to hide. We have nothing to harm anybody. So why should we keep things secret? Why should there be R&W? There should be nothing. Gandhiji's life was an open book. So should be the life of every Gandhian. Their life should be open book. Disclose everything. Don't keep things secret. Third thing, which I of course can't talk about Gandhiji, is this brahmacharya, the kind of things he said that man and a person should behave with his wife as she was his sister. So that kind of nonsense we can't talk because there are young children sitting here. So, but we don't follow. I give you example of hypocrisy.
Oh my God, they do understand what you mean. They do understand what the club says so.
I can't get into that territory. It's very dangerous. I
know you guys are in trouble.
I give you an example of hypocrisy. Gandhiji stood for prohibition. I support. I am also not a Bevada. I am completely in favor of Gandhiji. We don't despise Gandhiji. Gandhiji did multiple good things. He was a super human being, not in dispute. Gandhiji opposed prohibition. That's why in Gujarat you have prohibition. In some airports you will go, I think Indore if I recall, you have huge billboards, talking about, Gandhiji talked about not drinking and all that. Let me give you an example of how things, are shaping up in Delhi. You enter the Delhi's airport, which is biggest in India. You'll see a huge statue of bust of Mahatma Gandhi. Must be, worth 100 crores or whatever. The bust looks like of a white man. It doesn't look like Gandhiji. Now somehow all the statues of Gandhiji which are coming up they are making Gandhiji in the image of a white man, Caucasian race. Probably to attract the Western audience, which are very keen. They have a lot of illusion about Mahatma Gandhi. You enter the Delhi airport, you see the world's biggest charkha there, made of teak wood, 40 tons Burma teak wood, whatever it is. It looks very bad. This is Delhi airport's not the right place. You have to have these kind of things. And then you enter the Delhi airport, you will see huge elephants made of brass. And when you go inside, especially the international, departure area, I have been to around 15 odd airports in the world. I have not seen so many shops of, selling wine and liquor as they are in Delhi. So Gandhiji was against liquor. It was totally in prohibition. You have his statue outside. You have Gandhiji's photograph, in front of the airport. Sorry, the charkha is there. But you're selling wine and liquor inside. That's this hypocrisy has to be called.
Yeah.
If you believe in Gandhiji, follow him. And start with disbanding the armed forces, and you see what happens tomorrow morning.
See, he's putting me in trouble, but that's never going to happen. What if follow Netaji's footsteps? If it's a tit for tat situation. If they are putting it, let me put it back. Is this independence we will get it long back? But anyway, bloodshed will also happen.
But there is no conclusive evidence that all the bloodshed that has followed a revolutionary path has resulted in freedom.
Ma'am,
or has
this
resulted
statement
in
I
an
cannot take
outcome
it.
which is acceptable.
And more importantly, soldiers are standing in borders for protecting peace, not to instigate war. They are there to protect
but
peace
they are
and to
expecting,
prevent war from
no,
happening.
they are expecting it. They are expecting any time, right? No, we are talking about bloodshed. So when it happens in peace, also bloodshed happening. But if we follow Netaji's footsteps, now let me go to him now. When Sir is here, so let me put forward a question to you, sir. We got independence in 1947, 15th August, all fine. What if we follow the footsteps of Netaji and tit for tat? Tu mere ko ek marunga, main tere ko do marunga. If you follow that. Anyway, they are also there in the name of peace. We already lost so many people. You have also chance of losing people. Right?
Yeah.
Go on.
Harish, I will just like to give a context, a few statements of fact, which Mallika ji correctly said that we are all entitled to our opinion, but not to our own fact. So let me put some facts. In 1789, the French people did not sit on dharna to do the French Revolution.
Yeah.
The United States was not formed by 5 wise people sitting in some ashram and doing whatever practices. In 1917, the Russians were not sitting on Satyagraha. Right? And if we go back to even in more ancient times, to our own Ramayana, where we don't find Sri Ram carrying a peacekeeping force with him.
Wow. Interesting twist. Interesting twist in the talk. Go on,
And
sir.
even to cross over to Lanka, when he pleads with the ocean that make way, and the ocean doesn't listen, he is forced to threaten the ocean. And that's where Ramcharitmanas Tulsidas ji says, Bhaivin hoina priti. So without generating fear in your opponent's heart, you cannot attain success. You cannot get his or her love. Right?
Makes
Now,
sense.
let me come to the principle. Let me come to the principle first of nonviolent and revolutionary spirits, and then I will take up the facts which have been presented by the speakers. See, the point is that rulers, whoever is in power, they advocate, they are always champions of nonviolence and peaceful movement because that suits their convenience. They find it very difficult to deal with nonviolent or uprisings which are nonviolent. Now, the example, the very recent example I can give you what is going on if you are following current affairs, which I'm sure you are, what is happening in Sandesh Khali in West Bengal is one example, where the government everywhere is very, very wary of what's going to happen. And it's not a very non-violent situation. Article 370, I bet, couldn't have been moved by non-violent dharna. These are some of the examples. Non-violent didn't give us our freedom. That's my contention. Ma'am said something else. That what's the proof that violent movement or armed uprising gave us our freedom? The point, ma'am, is it was in 1921 when Gandhiji promised Swaraj in 1 year if you follow me in my non-violent way. He failed miserably. It did not happen. Then his Salt March, the most famous Dundee Salt March. We hear a lot about it. Movies have been made, clips are shown everywhere, and it's put up as an example of what non-violent resistance should look like. The basic fact which people forget to ask, he made that Dundee March of protesting against the salt tax, the salt laws. Were the salt laws changed? Was the salt tax abolished? Probably you don't know the answer. The answer is no. It was not changed. The tax was not removed. So there are a lot of examples here. And when the time for independence came, if independence had to come through non-violence, it would have come in 1921 or in 1932. We did not need to wait until 1947. Why in 47? After the war ended, the Labour Party came to power in the UK and with the promise that they will give us independence. They will transfer power. They never said independence. They said they will transfer power to Indian hands. And in 1945 September, we find a very, very impatient Congress Working Committee saying that, oh God, they have come to power, so much time has gone by and they're still not taking the name of independence. Then suddenly everything changes when people get to hear of the Azad Hind Fauj, the soldiers being brought back and put to trial. There is a massive uprising which is not peaceful. Suddenly all the Gandhian leaders turn violent. They are booked for making violent speeches, including Pandit Nehru, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, all the biggest votaries of non-violence, the Gandhian leaders. Now, these are the same people who came to power after independence, right? And they knew very well that non-violence did not give them independence. Non-violence did not give them what they wanted. It came because of the protests, the rebellions, the revolts that happened in the Air Force, in the Army, in the Navy, in the post offices, amongst the students, amongst the rail workers. That's what made the British afraid that they had lost the trust and loyalty of the soldiers, the Indian workers who supported the British Raj. And that's when they decided that it's time to leave.
Wow.
That's how it happened. These are the facts. These are not my opinions. And just my last point, I'll just take 10 seconds, that if peace and non-violence was such an effective weapon, instead of armies in the conflict zones, we would be seeing volunteers of the Gandhi Peace Foundation. And we would have a national charkha budget instead of a national defense budget.
Oh my God.
Now, I give you example from history about, as I said, we used to be thinking more in terms of what's happening in India rather than what's happening outside the world. Because we are the moral preacher of the world. We keep preaching the path of Ahimsa to the entire mankind. Now, this I'm quoting from the Rajendra Prasad collected work. So this is not from, you know me, I have the sources, reports, intelligence and all that. So the Rajendra Prasad was the very close follower of Mahatma Gandhi. And he was part of the clique which ousted Subhash Chandra Bose from the Congress party. So Rajendra Prasad became the President of India. President of India, as you all know, is the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. Now, believe me, this top secret correspondence, which has been declassified now, by mistake I presume, exists. And this Rajendra Prasad, the Rashtrapati, that is the Commander-in-Chief of the Indian Armed Forces, writing letters to Prime Minister and Defense Minister of the country on record. And he writes that, I have been meeting foreign dignitaries, coming from, he meant Europeans and Americans because that's what it meant to them. He said, I've been meeting people coming from different parts and they have been highlighting to me that on one hand you talk about Gandhiji's peace and whatever. And on the other hand, you have this thing called Indian Armed Forces. So you should, Gandhiji wanted it to be disbanded. Rajan Babu agrees, obviously, that is a part, Gandhiji, as I said, I keep repeating that Gandhiji and Gandhiji's follower never wanted armed forces in the free country. He said, I agree, but at the same time, since it can't be, if it can't be done, and he approved of it, and he wrote top secret personal letters to both Raksha Mantri and Pradhan Mantri. And he said, if you can't disband the army overnight, slowly over a period of time, decrease the strength. It would make your blood, boil actually. And then he said that the temple of peace that India is making for the world, this would be like a kalash on the top if you actually do it and reduce the strength of armed forces. Apne pet mein khane ko roti ho na ho, you have nothing to eat, but you want to bring world peace. Okay. So get rid of these things. And there are multiple examples. Just give me two things, I will not speak much. There are examples given out of context. Now, for example, America, Martin Luther King. My dear fellow, Martin Luther King was fighting his own government. When I'm seeking a concession with my own government, I will resort to peace. But when you're dealing with a foreign occupying power, like the British were the country, I will follow the George Washington's path. Again, there are multiple people like Nelson Mandela have been tom-tom as Gandhians. I'm sorry, Nelson Mandela made full use of violence. He was held by Fidel Castro. He was supported by Colonel Gaddafi and others, and he was very thankful to them. So these are jumlas.
Finally, he's back. So I made a statement that if Arnam cannot control, Harish can control.
Student,
Thank
love
you.
sir.
Go on, sir. Go on. Go on, sir. Go on.
No, this is the point. I mean, even I do not know whether people of your generation would know a man, John Lennon. He was part of the Beatles group. He sang a beautiful song, imagine the world is, this peace. See, these talks of peace are very nice in high society, but they mean nothing. Lennon could not even bring peace in his own family. He threw his own wife and son out and he was talking about world peace. In my time, I do not know about your time, but last example, to give example of how, this Jumla is, given everywhere, but nobody follows it. In my time, whenever there was a Miss World or Miss Universe contest, the contestant would be asked questions, especially from India, what you will do. So almost everybody would talk about, I'll become Mother Teresa, I will do social service. These are Jumlas, these are things you say, you don't believe them. So likewise, to talk of peace is a good thing. It sounds very well in high society. Obama talked about it, I follow Mahatma Gandhi. Same Obama is saying, once I was hit by one person, I hit him twice. So the real world doesn't function like this.
Good. Sir, that's all yours. Please, go on.
No, I just want to make 3 very specific points which have come from my opponents, not my enemies, my opponents, respected opponents. And the first point I want to ask you guys, today in 2024, do you know what share of our central budget goes for defense expenditure? I don't want to embarrass you. I'll tell you. It's 13.2%. Now, this is when Gandhiji is long gone. What I want to tell you, as a matter of contrast, is as long as Gandhiji was alive and Indians ran our government of India, the defense budget was, can you guess what percent of our total budget? 50%. When the Messiah of non-violence was alive and guiding his disciples in the government of India, the defense budget was 50% of the total budget. That's a factoid. It tells you how much non-violence was valued and effective. Second point, which came out very nicely from the discussion here, is the concept of externality. Those who have studied economics a little bit will understand what externality is. It's to give a very simple example that I ride a luxury car, I get the benefit, but there are other people who will die breathing the black smoke coming out of the tailpipe. Let the others die. I will get the benefit of a luxury car drive. Okay, that is called the external cost. Somebody else is taking the cost. What my esteemed opponents said at the very beginning stage is that people will fight, shed their blood, and then some of their leaders will come and sit across the table and conduct peaceful negotiation. Peace will triumph. So to get peace, probably 2 million people will have to die. That's the background. The third point I want to make is what Rahul said, and I really liked it when he said that he is as much an admirer of Gandhiji as Netaji was. I'm very glad to hear that. And I hope Rahul shares Netaji's assessment of Gandhiji when he said that Mahatma Gandhi has turned into a piece of old furniture. So I hope Rahul agrees with that. No, you will have to agree to that.
Oh, again.
Okay, I'm not done. When Netaji said that if free India follows in the footsteps of Mahatma Gandhi, free India will be in a ditch. I hope Rahul agrees with that because he is as much an admirer of Gandhiji as Netaji was. These are Netaji's words.
The furniture comment was in 33, and I hope as a Netaji admirer, he agrees that Gandhiji is the father of the nation. On 1946, the last statement.
Please.
Sorry, I didn't get the point. I didn't get it.
It was in 33. With Vidalbhai Patel, the letter was written, Gandhiji has become a old, useless
33,
piece of furniture.
yes.
33. And it was in 1946, July 6, 1944, July 6, that he called him father of the nation. So the more evolved Subhash Chandra Bose felt, Gandhiji is the father of the nation.
Of course, I will give you that. I will explain.
That's
I will
contradict the
explain.
statement.
That's a good
Yeah.
rejoinder and a very justified rejoinder. But let me very quickly explain what happens. Those of us who live in big families, we have our father, our parents, our grandparents. We all respect them. We all say that they are the head of our family. Do we listen to them? Do we agree with them? But still we respect them. It was exactly the same thing going on here.
Yeah.
And it was Gandhi, Subhas never disrespected Gandhi. Subhas never disrespected Gandhi. He said his path is not the right path. That's all. That does not mean that he had to insult Gandhi. No. I'm shocked that Rahul had to present a murderer as a contrast to Gandhian thoughts. Why God's sake? There are 100,000 freedom fighters, the revolutionaries. Bring up Khudiram Bose, bring up Jatin Das, bring up Master Dasrajya Sen. Why God's sake? Who is God's sake in comparison? They are people who gave their lives for the country.
Anyway, we don't go to that context now because again, it will be another triggering then. So last 10 seconds. Please.
Yeah, I'll just, I have a couple of things to say, but I have only 10 seconds, so I will have to compress everything. I wanted to respond to Farooqi sir's point where he said that Subhas Bose wanted or tried the path of peace to settle political problems in Bengal. So he tried the path of peace. Of course, it is right. A revolutionary is not a man who gets out of his bed and walks out of his house with a pistol, shooting everybody he sees in front of him. A revolutionary is someone who says the trust in God, but keep your powders dry. So he's not a fanatic in terms of non-violence. So, and sir's other point, very quickly, he said that non-violent attitude of Mahatma Gandhi wanted to bring a change of attitude. Yes, of course. He tried to send that letter giving that advice to the Europeans where they were being steamrolled by Hitler. Just imagine what would have happened if they had given up the fight against Hitler.
Oh, that's interesting. Now,
Means I'm claiming that it is better to have large organized non-violent movements so that the world also knows that you're in the right, and slowly you change the entire landscape. So as you would know, people even in England started arguing for Indian independence. People
I got it. No, I got it. I got your point. Oh, well, see, to answer your question briefly, if that was possible, the 1932 non-violent non-cooperation movement that Gandhiji led was a massive movement. It happened throughout the country. And if that was not enough to shake the British Raj, then I don't know how bigger scale of movement you can organize a non-violent movement. The problem here is, if you look at the approach, the non-violent dogmatic approach versus the revolutionary approach. As I said, the revolutionary, what does he say? He says, trust in God or say trust in peace, but keep your powder dry. So when a situation arises, you can use it. So he's combining the methods. The non-violent, particularly the Gandhian variety of non-violence, will tell you that you have to first transform yourself, transform the society, then change will come. Bhai Sahab, we have only one lifetime and we don't know how long we are going to live. So what are we talking about? The point is that peace cannot stand on its own legs. Peace needs the backup of violence to sustain itself. That is what I meant by external cost.
that's what. I think final words.
No, this is actually incredible. I mean, I'm talking about you young people out there. You know, what you are witnessing for last 2 hours, so this is incredible if we look back to our own experiences actually. You know, these discussion and such debates, whatever you may call it, these never took place in our time. Because I wish they did, because we would have learned so much and moved on probably, you know, ahead.
Makes sense. Yeah.
But the thing is, why it did not take place, because the system was totally controlled by Gandhians. And Gandhians did not allow any free speech. Now, because we have been doing not this, but the other presentations all over, you know, the country and outside, now the sea change, and the sea change is happening because of you, and you are being so because of largely because of the advent of social media. So you are able to see things, read on WhatsApp, you know, Twitter, Facebook, and so on and so forth. So now there's a great awareness which awakening has come among the younger generation, and they are openly talking. Oh. Unfortunately, the topic which was chosen for today's discussion is very
critical.
No, it is very, very dirty actually. I'll tell you one thing. I mean, the multiple things have been talked about. Yeah. For example, the gentleman, I mean, we can't even discuss, these debates will not remain civil. I mean, there are so dirty things in our past which can be discussed, like this Mountbatten, one of the most worst pedophile that we had, you know, and there were 3 of them operating in India in those days. You get my gist. What the kind of dirty things which took place in our country in those days, and we can't even discuss today, but it's being discussed by these young audience today. So at least we are happy. I'm very happy to know it, and especially looking at your enthusiasm. in this age, now people are at least willing to discuss and they're learning things more, which we never got chance. And I think as time goes by, and we already have a very clear, inkling from how people are behaving on social media, I think our side is winning. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
That's yeah. Let them decide a final call. Now, Mr. Vijay, yeah, we have a quick 2 words from Sir and Raut sir both, so that we can wrap it up because they are already ready with the
Okay.
good mementos for you guys.
Okay, I won't take much time.
Please go on. Go on, sir.
Just a few things. The first thing is that it's very amusing to see that we need certificates from the West to prove the greatness of Mahatma Gandhi. So what Ben Gurion said, or what Martin Luther said, or what Albert Einstein said, or even Obama said. The point is, every great man has had a band of followers, be it Jesus Christ, be it Ramakrishna Paramahansa. And the followers proved the truth of their guru's preaching by living that life. Tell me, except probably Vinoba Bhave, any one of Gandhi's political shishas, disciple, who lived their life according to their guru's principles. None. Not a single one. So, I mean, as I said, I will reiterate that peace obviously is an objective. It cannot be a mode. It cannot be a method. You have to take the support of non-violent methods, revolutionary mentality. You have to keep your powders dry. So choose your method according to the situation. If you just be a fanatic and say that everything will be achieved by peace and discussion and consultation, I think all of us are living in a fool's paradise.
Exactly, right? We make sense to it.